Starting. Oh, we're live. All right.
Awesome. Well, first live in our group, and that
Yes.
takes some time to get in. But we're here. We're happy to be here.
We had the opportunity to practice some of the skills we've been talking about in real time.
In real time.
Thanks, Meta.
All right, well, welcome everyone. What we're doing today is my sister Faith and I, we were just podcasting, and we wanted to have a moment just to recap what we've been talking about. And on the Skills Podcast, for those of you who don't follow the Skills Podcast yet, add that to your list. We have been talking so far about the DBT distress tolerance skills. So all the skills that we can use, what we've been on is talking about things that we can do in the short term to help us just tolerate distress, buy us some time, not make things worse. And the theme, really, these skills can apply to every life situation. And what we wanted to talk about today was, let's take these skills and talk about applying them to the workplace. Since we primarily are working with leaders and founders and teams, we want to give you some examples that fits that. So, with that all being said, let's do it.
Let's dive in. All right. And like Meredith said, that if we start talking about a concept that you haven't heard yet because you haven't been able to check out one of the podcast episodes, we go into a lot of detail about each of the discrete skills that Meredith is teaching one by one as we work our way through the DBT skills. So if anything piques your interest here, then please just go check us out at the Skills Podcast, and let us know your thoughts. Let us know your questions. We're here for it. So like Meredith said, what we normally see play out, well, we want to just start with what we normally see, whether we're talking about leadership or just any employee within any company. And frankly, it's the holidays. I think this applies outside the workplace too. But,
very true.
Right? Like something happens, right?
Yes.
And in the words that you use that I love, you're feeling activated, not triggered. It's a new word for this, but activated, right?
Yeah.
Something came up.
Yeah.
And now there's something about what you're experiencing that's not fun or not ideal in some way. And what you would ideally love to be able to do is buy some time, not make it worse. And in some cases, I think there's an opportunity with enough awareness to really start to make different decisions.
Yeah.
And choose different pathways. And so we thought maybe we could just share a little bit about that. So let's pretend, for example, that you have a coworker. For whatever reason, there's something about your dynamic with the two of you that just like, it does not work, right? You guys just constantly experience conflict and you feel like you're speaking different languages and you butt heads frequently, right?
Or you just show up in the room differently.
Yeah.
Which can lead to like miss like different interpretations.
Exactly.
Which can lead to that cycle, or
Yeah.
like more discomfort showing up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because you feel
sometimes like it's overt conflict, or like
mm-hmm.
this is not working between us, but other times it's more like subtle than that.
Yeah.
Would
like
you say that
fully
matches?
agree. Yeah. Like I was talking to like my first session of the day today. That was one of the things he was talking about was like, I just feel like no matter how I say it, even if it's not conflict, if I just have a question, it's like for some reason, this peer group never understands what he's asking, So something like this is playing out and you're feeling activated.
Yes.
And this is where the skills come in.
Yes.
What Meredith and I have been talking about is that it all starts with awareness, right? And in particular, when you're experiencing anything that feels not ideal in relationship to someone else, again, whether it's at work or in life in general, I feel like you always have an opportunity to just kind of reflect on. My dog says hi, by the way. That's Maisie. She's our mascot. You can reflect on what your role is, right?
Yeah.
In the dance, because a lot of the times we're so focused on what the other person is doing that's driving us nuts, that external focus seems to only make things worse. Like it doesn't actually help.
Yeah, or like the two different framings here talk about like the dance that we can be into, and then the other one is like the tug of war.
Yes.
So something's not working between us, or like you're doing something that annoys me. So I'm like, if this person could just change, or they're doing that thing again, like, we're focused on them versus what's happening between us. And then again, going back to what you're going to, it's like, what's my role, or what can I do differently?
Yeah. And how do I want to respond in this moment? How do I want to respond?
So we have that awareness. Okay,
Yes.
this is happening. We're in this again. That person's showing up in that way that I dislike, or again, like we're in that same flow. The flow is starting to occur. Okay, now what?
Now what? Yeah. So this is the moment, right? I want to celebrate anybody who's gotten this far, that you have the awareness that something is happening and you haven't already rocketed off in like an explosion of anger or frustration where you slam the door, right? It's this very reactive space. Like if you're aware that you're feeling a certain kind of way, celebrating you. So it all starts with awareness. What specifically is the thing that you're experiencing that you would like to change or have be different or experience differently? And then this is where the tools can come in. Because if you know what it is that you want to change, sometimes it's not just that you have a binary option of like, well, either I'm going to say something or I don't. There's so many options in this moment to buy time. So I think a high level recap of maybe some of the skills could be good here.
Yeah. So, the skill that we left off, so the skills we've been on, again, like things that we can do in the short term, we're not going to be doing these indefinitely, but again, we can use them kind of strategically to help resource us or kind of recalibrate to then come back to this point. Like, what do I want to do differently? Well, maybe I know that, like in my heart, I want to do something differently, but because I'm feeling so strongly about the thing that's occurring, it makes it difficult to activate that behavior. So, okay, before I then go try to change the behavior, resource yourself. Can you take a quick break? So we talked about self-soothing. So self-soothing, there's a ton of, we're putting out more content, but there's a lot of content out there about self-soothing. Can I do something just to go like comfort yourself, try to again turn down the volume a little bit so then we can access different ways of responding. And then I love the example, actually this was in self-soothing. We were talking about using imagery as a way, turning towards something that's like visually soothing. But one thing that we can do here is look at old pictures of maybe the person that you're in conflict with or you're struggling with. Can you look at something that just reminds you, like, oh wait, here's this person that I care about. We're on this team together, or we're in this workplace together. We have the same mission. I deeply care about this person, or I have empathy or understanding for this person. What's happening here is this unhelpful dance, but can I help remind myself of all of this, which then maybe I can access something differently, a different way of responding. You talked about your corkboard of awesome.
Yes.
Which I love so much.
That makes me so happy. Yeah, for anybody who hasn't heard this before, I literally used to call it my wall of awesome, and I'm recreating it here on my own. But when I ran my team in New York, I wanted all of us to have, a go-to place. It was literally floor to ceiling corkboard wall that had all of the wins, all of the letters of thank you from our students that we worked with, or clients that we worked with, and pictures of people's babies, and just the great news that we got, and just
awesomeness.
Literally all of the awesomeness, so that on our hardest days when we were the most exhausted and deep in the grind or frustrated or pick a thing that's not great, doesn't feel great, we could go to that wall and just take that in and remember why we were doing what we were doing in the first place.
And we all know that what's happening in your environment will influence us. So look at your space. Do you have any reminders? Is it just if things are hard, does everything feel hard? Is there a way to bring something in again that's soothing, but then also can kind of remind us to our connection? And then we talked about doing contributions, or just distracting yourself with different random activities. We also talked about the tip skills, which were really quick, fast acting skills. There's a podcast where Faith throws ice on her face.
And she dunks her face in a bowl of ice water.
That's a skill.
It's a skill. It's really fun.
So doing sometimes maybe we need that. Go throw some cold packs on your, we're really activated. but this would be a similar example of doing something to help me tolerate that distress.
Yeah.
And again, with the goal of then returning back to it, doing something different. So maybe I go do some quick exercise, a brisk walk around the block, put on some music that elicits a different emotion, talk to someone, send out some quick random texts to other people, do something that's connecting or contributing.
And I think the key here is that no matter what you choose to do, the idea is that you're purposefully trying to choose something that's big enough to really shift you out of whatever it was that you were feeling. And so a great example you used was like if you like bit into a lemon.
Oh yeah.
Like holy, you would really be riveted to that moment of just like, wow, the sourness. I'm pretty sure it would pull you right out of that. And so whatever you choose to do, ideally you're really purposefully choosing a big enough shift to.
And that's an example of distracting with sensations.
Yes.
Like doing something that's going to elicit a sensation. And again, we're not staying there forever, but just a momentary, like, okay, here's a little shock to the system. Does it help me, again, be able to then come back and then work with something?
Yeah, from a place of like intention. Because I think this is really the crux of all interpersonal I think stress, or pick another word that really nails it. I think it's just a lot of the times we feel like we're stuck or we're trapped or we're just so over it that you feel like you have no other option than to just kind of like lash out or have some other behavior choice that's not going to make anything better. And so just recognizing that you do have a choice is huge. And one of the exercises I love to bring in for my people is you can do a little like two, I don't know if you can see this, like two, columns, little chart for yourself. And the goal is that on the left side, you just write all the things that are within your control in that moment. And then on the other side, you write everything that's outside of your control. And I think you'll find that I've yet to see a case where this is not true. The list of the things that are outside of your control is exceptionally long. It's far longer than the list of stuff that's within your control. And I feel like when we feel so activated sometimes by whatever it is that we're experiencing, I think sometimes without realizing it, we can slip in almost to like victim mode. And so I think this locus of control point of coming back to yourself and remembering where you have agency and where you have the influence to actually enact change or make things better, or to get back in alignment with your values and how you want to show up in any given situation, I feel like it's one of the most powerful tools we can use when things are anything but great.
This is just making me think about, we talked about this a little bit in mindfulness in those first couple chapters or episodes, of like what you're describing is like kind of that you're in autopilot.
Yeah.
So this thing's happening, I'm feeling this distress, I just kind of go inwards and I just think this other person should go kick rocks. Or like they could just leave the company, or if they just weren't here anymore, I wouldn't have this problem, which is all like that negative kind of vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So like what they're saying, right? Like if I can see that, make it this list. I love the idea of having some like tangible practice here.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, within my control, oh, my behaviors.
Yeah.
What do I do differently?
Yeah, because what's within your control largely comes down to what you say, what you do, in most cases what you think, if you're aware of the story you're telling yourself in the absence of fact. And I think maybe we could use some concrete examples here that could make this a bit more, make it really land for you. So the session I had earlier today, we were talking about how sometimes in meetings, right, this person feels like anytime that they ask a question, it feels like for whatever reason the other team can't understand them. What also happens for them is that sometimes these meetings feel wildly unproductive to the point that they just want to check out. So like, I don't even want to go to these meetings anymore because it feels so...
Very relatable example.
Right? It feels like so...
industries.
Yes, no matter what industry you're in, we all have dealt with this before, but I
Yeah.
feel like that he has the choice, right? So he's aware that he has a choice, that you could either check out, this is what feels like the option, or go begrudgingly. And so what we talked about was in the moment, like what's an example of something that makes you feel like it's not productive? It's like, oh, when the meeting just veers wildly off topic and it's no longer It's no longer attached to the thing that we set out to do in the first place, or it's unclear what's actually needed from him. And so in this case, one of the things that he can do that's within his control is he can recognize when he feels confused or uncertain, and then he can ask for clarity. So, hey guys, I noticed we started out talking about this thing, and now we're talking about this thing, and I feel confused as to where it's helpful to weigh in. Is it on this thing, or should we go back to this thing and table that for later? And so he can ask for what he needs in that moment to make sure that he feels like he's really contributing in the way that's going to support his team the best.
Love that so much.
Yeah.
It's like the power of describe. We're just describing, asking questions. I was thinking about another concrete example of these two business partners. They know their dance. They know it's not helpful. And then that question of, okay, what's in my control? One thing that shows up for them is when one of the people does a certain behavior, the other person has like a lot of negative interpretations, and then those judgments then make her shut down and like less engaging with her business partner. Not helpful. So similarly, if she can describe the behavior, like here's what I'm noticing, and then follow up with curiosity of asking questions. Yeah, we're gonna come back to that a lot.
Yeah, curiosity is a superpower, guys.
That's a different behavior. So instead of just going internal, saying those judgments again, like going down that negative cycle, she caught it, and then this is what I noticed. Can you help me understand this, or can I check in with you? Like, here's what I'm thinking. This is how I'm interpreting this. What's your experience? Oh, and then now we're having dialogue about it, and we're able to move with it versus just continuing that same cycle.
Yeah,
there's the change.
Exactly.
Love that.
Exactly. And the thing, just in case it didn't come through really, really clearly, the thing that's really unique about, or not unique actually, but it's very common, but what stands out about this example that Meredith's using is that for this dyad, this is a frequent experience. This happens regularly. Yeah. And I think these moments of, like, we all know it. We all know when we're in that dance that we've done a million times. And so what Mary's suggesting is disrupting the dance on your behalf, because when you change your dance steps, the dance itself fundamentally has to change. So I think that's a great opportunity for you just to pull back to, like, if you have some space, maybe, or not, over the holidays, reflect on the places where you feel these patterns, any sort of pattern, whether it's a great pattern, because that could be really good to be mindful of too, but especially the ones that feel uncomfortable, or the ones where, like, here they go again. Like, can you, as if a video camera recorded it, so there's no emotion, it's just the facts. Person A does this, person B, that's me, responds like this, right? And just play it out and see if you can't grow your awareness more fully around what exactly is happening in the first place, because it all starts there. Just to bring it full circle.
Yeah, love it. Speaking of holidays, everyone will have probably lots of opportunities to practice this. And then the last thing I want to name here, and this, like, the whole emphasis of distress tolerance, that what sounds seemingly simple on paper, like what you just described, I'm like, oh, that's so doable. Then we go to do it, and that can be so painfully difficult, or just feel, I don't know, like a lot of work. So that's where that distress tolerance part comes in, of like, how do you take care of yourself during that? Like, remind yourself that you're safe, that you're in control, you're focusing on what is within your control. So again, like, can you soothe yourself, bring in some distractions, improve your environment, do some activity, like go distract, and then come back into it. Beauty of taking some breaks.
Yeah, breaks are amazing, guys.
It's a skill set. Use them.
It is. Yeah, and I think one last little tip I might offer here, if you want to try it, is I think sometimes, like Meredith's saying, it can be really hard to stick the landing on doing something differently. And if you're in the workplace and you notice that most of the time when you're in these situations, or like in a meeting, for example, because meetings are often one of the greatest sources of frustration for people, if you know that you always have a notebook or something reliably with you, one of the things that I hacked for myself was I created like a one-pager where I put like post-it notes on it of all the things that I was trying to focus on. So for me, I'm a recovering know-it-all, right? And so what I was trying to do with my team so that they just stopped being so frustrated with me was to ask more questions, right? And not just jump into solving things. I was really trying to lead with curiosity. So that was one of my anchors that I had on that paper. And what was really helpful about that is that I had a literal visual reminder and notes in front of me so that in real time when something came up in a meeting where I could choose path A, which is the very well-worn groove in my brain, which I like the behavior that I automatically slip into on autopilot, or B, the new pathway that I'm trying to carve, I can make that choice and be like, oh, that's right, how do I do that again? Oh, that's right, ask a question, right? Or it could be the core values, like, or your intention for how you want to show up, like curiosity, for example, or with patience, or something like that.
I love that, writing it down, having notes, or even like little graphics that would just be reminders.
Like the stop sign.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Yes, yeah, it's great.
They can be on your desktop or on your computer too.
Yeah.
If you get in trouble in emails, how you respond to emails. Hypothetical example.
Exactly. Yeah, this is fun. Yeah.
Okay, great recap.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps bring some examples. And again, we're referencing Skills Podcast Distress Tolerance episodes that have been out. I think we're up to episode 7.
I think so.
And then we're moving into some long-term skills. Those are coming next. And yeah, we should do a recap on those too.
Yeah, excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Really appreciate you guys joining. Let us know if you have any questions.
Bye.
Bye.